In May 2003, I visited the University Francisco Marroquín and gave a series of talks. One was on the topic, the social value of Giancarlo Ibárgüen. Giancarlo was both a gentle soul and a road warrior for freedom. When a moment arrived, he seized it. Guatemala was a new democracy in 1996, but its people, like so many around the world, could not even talk amongst themselves. When I first arrived here during that year, Gianca showed me a document listing the cities in the country where there existed not a single connected telephone. The list went on for pages and pages. 10,000 or more people clustered together, isolated from the world. Freedom could change that, thought Giancarlo, and the budding democracy gave him an idea. So the short story is that Gianca forged a coalition for reform. He had read Adam Smith's work of the 18th century and Friedrich Hayek's of the 20th. He deduced, more or less as a thought experiment, from first principles, how one might apply their ageless wisdom to wireless markets in the 21st. He studied, sought some advice, and swung into action. In a story well told in an Antigua Forum monograph, an extremely innovative system of liberal property rights to radio spectrum was established. Markets, not government experts, would distribute scarce bandwidth. It was a daring gambit, never before attempted. It worked. Competition blossomed and new technologies popped up. No decade-long regulatory rulemakings required. 3 competing networks almost instantly emerged in Guatemala, with 3 more rivals facing off in neighboring El Salvador, where Gianca's pioneering reform efforts had spilled in 1997. Millions of people joined the modern world faster and with better service than if the plodding pace of governments elsewhere had ruled. By 2001, the price per market of mobile talk time in Guatemala, adjusted for standard economic factors, was less than 1/2 the average elsewhere in Latin America. Given the 2.2 billion voice minutes consumed annually, Gianca's policy reform was saving consumers approximately $270,802,013. That's approximately. And that was on my slide. So you may laugh, but that was an overtly conservative estimate, and it exceeded 0.5% of GDP. Capitalized at appropriate discount rates, it produced consumer benefits exceeding $5 billion. When was the last time you tried that little trick? Papers published in England, Canada, Australia, the United States, the EU, Latin America, and by the International Telecommunications Union, part of the United Nations, all cite the radical Guatemalan spectrum property rights experiment approvingly. In 2005, mobile technology giant Qualcomm was boasting of cutting-edge deployments of its advanced wireless broadband network in 14 countries. Guatemala, by far the poorest, was among them. In 2010, Amazon featured a map of places around the world where its Kindle could download books and movies via 3G. The map of Mexico and Central America was almost all white space, save for Guatemala, virtually swimming in wireless broadband coverage, and El Salvador. Millions of people who did not know Gianca, including, by the way, the shareholders of San Diego-based Qualcomm, were benefiting from the actions of this careful reader of the classics. Now, this was not Gianca's life work. It was simply one of his jaunts. Gianca had loads of vision and boundless determination. He went to bed at night thinking of the challenges society faced, and imagining how much better a world with new freedoms might be. He awoke in the morning excited for the dawn of another day to help bridge that gap. Notably, he became president of UFM, succeeding its amazing founder, Musso Ayao. Well, what a mission that was. Emerging in 1971, the university graduated to the premier institution of higher learning in Central America in 2 decades. It did not go by the book. UFM blazed a revolutionary path, and the Gianca years took the spirited innovation to an even higher level. I remember him giving me a tour just a few years back of the UFM Media Lab and computer facilities when he challenged me to compare UFM's online content in Spanish and English and user-friendly interface to MIT's. So with a twinkle in his eye, I did not have to check. I knew MIT had to catch up. Then came the Antigua Forum, launched in 2012. This forum may not be as spectacular as Sebastian, Sophia, and Cristobal, Gianca's other children, or his wife Isabel, his partner for life, and a woman of grace beyond words. But the Antigua Forum is a dream come true. It underscores just how severely I miscalculated the quantitative impact of the man. I hope the measurable underestimate is someday forgiven. This forum, Gianca's Passion, was born at a time when many of us would not be thinking about launching projects to improve the world. In April 2009, when I was again visiting UFM, he told me he wanted to talk to me about something. Given his bouncy manner, I looked forward to the surprise. Alas, he told me that he had been given a devastating medical diagnosis, ALS, known as Lou Gehrig's disease. I was barely back to my hotel room before I had a message from Giancarlo. He told me not to take it so hard. I am looking at this as merely an inconvenience, he said, no matter how tough the road ahead. He was not unaware, and he did not lie. When that tough road ended last March, Gianca was 52 years old. Ian Vasquez of the Cato Institute wrote words I cannot improve upon. Gianca embodied the spirit of liberalism. He was tolerant, curious, modest about his own knowledge and accomplishments, courteous, open-minded, and confident about the human potential. He urged students to question everything and to always question themselves. There was never any indication that anything was wrong, though his condition was no secret. He kept extremely engaged, responding quickly to emails, sending personal notes and suggestions, recommending readings or events on Twitter. He was a constant source of optimism and inspiration. To the end, he was a model of dignity. When I posted a Facebook note about the human race having lost one of its best, an instant response came from a brilliant economist in the Smithian tradition, Vernon Smith, a Nobel laureate who had participated in the first Antigua Forums. Vernon adored Giancarlo. He wrote, "Gianca was truly amazing, an incredible model of living life to its fullest. We are saddened by the loss of our friend, but like Vernon and Ian, and literally millions of others who may not be so fully cognizant of Gianca's rich bounty, we are blessed to be living in his world. I thank you for this moment and for your warm embrace of UFM and the Antigua Forum, and deeply appreciate Wayne, Lissa, Gabrielle, and Alfredo for awarding me the impossible task of attempting to do justice to the story of Giancarlo Ibárgüen.